In a small village in the heart of Kano State, Nigeria, life was simple and serene. The villagers went about their daily tasks with a sense of community and shared purpose. However, this peaceful existence was soon disrupted by the arrival of a man named Abdullahi. Abdullahi was a tall, imposing figure with a reputation that preceded him. He was known for his cunning and ruthless ways, exploiting any opportunity to further his own interests. It was no surprise that he quickly identified the vulnerability of the young Alamajiri children in the village. The Alamajiri system, intended to provide religious education, had left many children abandoned and begging on the streets. Abdullahi saw this as an opportunity to exploit them for his own gain. He approached the children with promises of food, shelter, and a better life. Desperate and hungry, they eagerly followed him, hoping for a brighter future. But Abdullahi's true intentions were far from noble. Once he had gained the children's trust, he revealed his cruel plan. He forced them to beg on the streets, using their pitiful appearance to gather sympathy and coins from passers-by. The money they collected went straight into Abdullahi's pockets, funding his lavish lifestyle while the children remained hungry and destitute. Musa, a bright-eyed boy no older than 10, was among the children under Abdullahi's control. He had been hopeful at first, believing Abdullahi's promises of a better life. But it didn't take long for Musa to realize the grim reality of his situation. Despite his fear, Musa held on to a flicker of hope, dreaming of a day when he and the other children would be free from Abdullahi's grasp. Abdullahi's scheme went undetected for months as he moved the children from city to city, always staying one step ahead of the authorities. He was cunning, always knowing when to change locations and avoid detection. The children, meanwhile, grew more desperate and despondent with each passing day. Abdullahi's greed knew no bounds, and his cruelty only intensified with time. The children's misery was his gain when he reveled in their suffering. The villagers, unaware of the true extent of his actions, remained oblivious to the plight of the children in their midst. Little did Abdullahi know, his reign of terror would soon face a formidable challenge. A kind-hearted social worker named Nafisa was about to enter the picture, bringing with her a determination and compassion that would change the lives of the children forever. Musa's life had taken a drastic turn the moment he fell into Abdullahi's trap. The promise of food and shelter had been tempting, but the reality was a nightmare. Each day, Musa, along with other children, roamed the streets with their hands outstretched, pleading for coins. The once lively and bright-eyed boy had transformed into a shadow of his former self, his spirit crushed under the weight of exploitation. Despite the harsh conditions, Musa clung to a fragile thread of hope. He often dreamed of escaping Abdullahi's clutches and finding a way back to a life of dignity and freedom. One evening, driven by desperation, Musa decided to make his move. He waited until Abdullahi was preoccupied and then slipped away, his heart pounding in his chest. The streets, usually bustling with activity, were eerily quiet at that hour. Musa navigated the dark alleys, his small feet moving swiftly and silently. For a brief moment, he felt the thrill of freedom. However, his escape was short-lived. Abdullahi, with his keen senses and a network of informants, quickly discovered Musa's absence. It didn't take long for Abdullahi to catch up with Musa. The punishment was swift and brutal. Abdullahi beat Musa mercilessly, his actions meant to serve as a grim reminder to the other children of the consequences of defiance. Musa's body ached, but his spirit, though battered, refused to break entirely. He vowed to himself that he would find another way to escape, not just for himself, but for all the children suffering under Abdullahi's tyranny. Back at the hideout, the other children watched Musa's plight with a mix of fear and admiration. His bravery had sparked a small but significant flame of hope among them. They began to believe, however faintly, that there might be a way out of their dire situation. Musa's failed attempt was not in vain, it was a symbol of resistance against Abdullahi's oppressive rule. As the days turned into weeks, the children's hope began to dwindle again. Abdullahi's grip tightened, and the cycle of abuse continued. But Musa, despite the constant fear and pain, held on to the belief that their suffering would end. He knew that they needed a miracle, someone from the outside who could see their plight and help them. Unbeknownst to Musa and the other children, that miracle was already on its way. Nafisa, the dedicated social worker, was drawing closer. Her arrival would bring a glimmer of hope to their lives and set in motion a chain of events that would change everything. To be continued. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notification button to stay updated on our latest episodes.